Fox News alert and a live look in Bloomington, Illinois right now, where Donald Trump's supporters are turning out in force again this morning to see the GOP frontrunner speak. The Trump campaign is telling us that it's adding additional security after several incidents earlier this weekend. The latest in Dayton, Ohio yesterday, when a protester jumped a barrier and stormed the stage.
That's 22-year-old Thomas D. Massimo, a former child actor turned professional protester. How do you get that job? You're a professional protester. He's being dragged away by the cops after he jumped a barrier coming within feet of Mr. Trump before the Secret Service swooped in.
And they acted quickly. De Massimo, well, he made headlines last year, if you remember this, after dragging an American flag across the Wright State University campus and then standing on it. Well, according to some news reports, that video was actually later used in an ISIS propaganda video. Wow.
And he now faces charges for inducing a panic and disorderly conduct.
Well, right now, Peter Johnson Jr. is joining us. He says not only are these disruptors putting Trump at risk, but potentially our constitutional rights as well.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, everybody, on this Sunday. The Constitution does not protect or allow coercion, intimidation, or threats. So this morning, I not only have concerns for Donald Trump's safety based upon what MoveOn.org and others are saying and doing, but in the greater picture for our Constitution. The First Amendment does not protect you going into a rally and attempting to disrupt it. It does not protect you trying to climb up onto a stage and assault a presidential candidate. That is not part of our discourse, and I believe that there is a pattern of voter intimidation in this country, and the right of assembly of Americans is now being affected. They want to shut down rallies like this that we're seeing right now.
Let's talk about the First Amendment. We've been talking about it all weekend. That's at the heart of this whole discussion. So explain to us, first of all, what the First Amendment actually says and does.
In terms of the First Amendment, obviously there's a right to free speech. Donald Trump has a right to say what he wants to say. Some believe that it's inflammatory. Some agree, some disagree. I disagree with much of what he says. But my remedy under the law, under the Constitution, is not to disrupt or invade his rally. My remedy is to have a counter-protest somewhere based on time, place, and manner restrictions that the law says is available. My remedy is to do what Univision has done, is say we're going to register 3 million Hispanics in the United States. My remedy is to buy television commercials. My remedy is to come on Fox and Friends. My remedy is to use all available peaceful means. My remedy is not to say to Black Lives Matter and MoveOn.org members, go to Donald Trump's rally, invade it, disrupt it, stop it, because when you disrupt his rally, no matter how much you agree or disagree with it, you're disrupting our American constitutional system, and then we become the worst South American country, the worst East European country. Listen, Donald Trump's rhetoric is inflammatory according to some, but according to some, so is Bernie Sanders, a Marxist-inspired rhetoric. Does that allow me or you to go to Bernie Sanders' rally and say, I'm going to shut it down, I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to stop free speech in this country because I don't like what he's saying? People died in Iraq and Afghanistan and Korea and Vietnam and in Germany and in Japan and the Pacific and in World War I because we wanted to stop authoritarianism and fascism and Marxism. But has that come to our shores now? Are we succumbing to that because we don't like what Trump says? Should we destroy him? Should we jump up onto a stage and assault him? Look what happened yesterday. Run that tape again, please. That's one of the most devastating images that I've seen in American political life in my lifetime. Bar assassinations.
Yeah, I mean, this is unacceptable.
It's a horror show.
Anybody would think that's
and why
okay.
isn't America and American political leaders from the president on down, and he said something yesterday, I'm not quite sure what he said, condemning that? Why aren't the Republicans and the Democrats condemning that?
They're saying it's Trump's fault that somebody is trying to take him out at his own rally.
Yeah, GOP contenders have said, Senator Ted Cruz has said that, this is his own rhetoric has led to this. Governor John Kasich has said that these are seeds that he has sown. Hillary Clinton didn't mention Donald Trump in her statement at all and said we need calm. In her defense, she actually said we need calm, and she didn't point the finger at Donald Trump.
She did.
Bernie Sanders, however, also pointing the finger at Donald Trump for this type of rhetoric.
But it seems to me that political ambition is trumping the Constitution and common sense and the future of our country. You say, well, listen, in essence, he deserves what he gets because I disagree with what he said. That's essentially un-American. And for them to say that, they say, well, I've got an election coming up, so he's in a bad position. Let's shut down his rallies. Let's make him look like the racist and the misogynist that these folks say that he is. Let's hurt him and let's step over his body and become the presidential nominee in the Republican Party. Have we lost any sense of civility or fair play? And it has to extend everywhere. Trump has to be civil. These candidates have to be civil. MoveOn.org has to be civil. The opposition has to be civil. And we can't be in a situation in this country, in my view, where we take physical conduct in our own hands and invade a space of people who want to be heard.
I want to ask you about the legal side of this. Because
Yeah.
talking about the right to assemble, Donald Trump has now thrown around this morning. We saw
Part of the First Amendment, as we were just talking about.
Exactly,
yes.
but this idea that I'm going to now press charges. He
What
hasn't
would those
done
be?
that. So what would that be, and what would that mean for the future of the protests? You know, he says now that'll stop you from protesting because I'm going to start to press charges. He hasn't, I guess, to this point.
Well, the truth is, if you go into a rally and you seek to stop that rally by violence, by yelling out, by destroying the campaign posters, by causing tumult, by inciting others to act in a way that is criminal, then that is a crime.
So it doesn't even matter if he wants to press
It is a crime. It has nothing to do with him pressing charges. The police have an obligation to act. But I must say, the fellow who jumped out of this crowd and almost passed the Secret Service, he's out on bail. And he's on Twitter. And he's taunting Donald Trump
and I think Trump was
on
saying
Twitter.
Consequences aren't strong enough.
Well, the law is the law. We don't want an authoritarian society in any way. But at the same time, we don't want to descend into the depths of fascism. Fascism, the tyranny of opinion that is popular.
And Peter, look, you want to talk about popular, look at the size of this crowd. What about the rights of all of the people there to
listen,
their
and make up
free
their mind.
speech, to hold a sign, to listen?
All of us have that right, and all of our rights should be respected. I know Donald Trump. I represented Donald Trump. I've disagreed often and often publicly with Donald Trump, and I'm sure he's not happy with it. But he has the right to speak, and his adherents have the right to listen to him and for them to be heard. And they don't have an obligation to put up with being molested or intruded upon by people that want to go there and do violence and do harm. If you want to do harm to his message, then do it in a civil, legal way. The MoveOn.org.
Peter, what is the best way to do that? Because, you know, tapping into this passion, this is incredible. The voter turnout is incredible. The numbers of people coming out, people who have never voted before, Democrats becoming Republicans, independents who are switching and following Donald Trump, and the passion that they have is incredible. But how do you channel that and make sure it doesn't go over the edge?
We have to channel it in terms of the media. We have to regain our senses in this country. We need to restore calm. We need to restore civility. We need to restore a sense of balance. We need to talk about what the Constitution really says. The Constitution is not a matter of convenience, and you don't use the Constitution only for your own purposes. We can't be invading each other's space. If Trump has something to say and his people want to hear it, let him say it. If Kasich has something to say and his people want to hear it, let him say it and hear it. The same for Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. But we don't be needing to shut each other down, because that is the path to tyranny. We have too much to lose, and too many Americans have died for our liberties and our First Amendment rights in this country. We need to restore this country to sanity today.
Well said. Peter Johnson, Jr., Fox News legal analyst, talking about our First Amendment this morning. We appreciate you. And